Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now before we begin, can you notice anything different in the office from the last video? Anything at all? Possibly something different. Alright, enough of that. So I had a question from one of my followers recently regarding ND filter use. So I thought, why not make a little video on the subject, because at least for me, showing is so much better than reading a message or a piece of information on the web. But by the way, if you haven't seen me on Instagram, then head on over, have a little cheeky look and give it a follow if you so wish. If not, that's fine. Alright, let's get into it. So, real quick, ND filter stands for neutral density filter, which are effectively sunglasses for your camera as they reduce the amount of light getting onto the sensor. Now, this was particularly directed towards drone use, but the question does answer anything with a camera, so a drone, as I said, a camera, because it's a camera, and also your smartphone. So hypothetical situation is you want to slow down a certain part of your image to turn something from this into this. Or maybe you're in a situation where it's so bright outside that all you can see coming through your lens is the light of God. Now this is never good, trust me. So as I said, we use them to cut the amount of light coming through or to cut the haze in a certain situation like outside. And speaking of outside, you know how I said showing is so much better than reading something on the internet? Well, let's go outside. Ooh, that's better. Okay, so what was I saying about, oh yeah, showing you. Okay, let's have a look. Ready? Oh, nah, can't. Too bright. Actually, no, I'll show you properly. Yeah, ready? Alright, I hope that explains it to you much better than the internet can. Now, this particular filter that I'm using is a Gobe, I don't actually know how it's pronounced, but all I know is that it's an Australian company, so that's why I bought it. So this is a variable ND filter. I will link it down below for you to check out. And variable ND means you can adjust the amount of light or darkness coming into the lens like so. And this is good for me because I am more of a run and gun style photographer, and changing filters all the time is just not within my priorities. So you of course will have to check what your priorities are and what you need these particular filters for. I will always recommend variable NDs because they are, when made correctly, more beneficial, I think. See, that's the problem with long hair. Like, it looks good, but then it's always in your face. Anyway, if you want to ask anything, of course, drop a comment down below and I'll be happy to help you out with this. It's pretty rainy outside, I'm getting quite wet, so let's go back in and we'll continue talking in there, alright? That's better, isn't it? So, okay, I hope that has in some way explained to you what ND filters are and if you really need them. Now, something I didn't mention before with photography is that you are able to achieve a shallower depth of field when you put one of these on. Shallower depth of field is more blur around you in the background in a brighter situation with a slower shutter speed. But ND filters are primarily used for videography. So if you are considering filming more like I did, as with filming you have to abide by the rule of the shutter triangle, which I explained in a video up here. Now I film at 30 frames a second. I don't know why I film at 30 frames, I like it, I guess. But that means that I have to keep the shutter open to 1/60th of a second to achieve the most natural blur when things are moving around for your eyes to watch. Effectively, this is called the cinematic look. Everyone overuses that word, so just consider it the most natural way to watch a film, or a movie, or a YouTube video like this one. But I will do another video explaining frame rates and shutter speeds and the aperture triangle and all that stuff in the future, so consider subscribing so you don't miss out on that when it does eventually drop. So, back to drone use, as this is what this original video was inspired by. You have a lot of moving subjects in your frame when you're filming with a drone, which means that to achieve, as I said, the cinematic look, you need to put an ND filter on so you can get the right amount of blur as things are passing underneath you. Now, for my drone, I use a company called Freewell, and they have been excellent. They're really easy to pop on when you pop it on properly. I have lost one because I didn't pop it on properly, but let's not talk about that because it still hurts, as it was like the one I use all the time. Anyway, another story for another day, I guess. But when using one of these outside, you have to obviously assess the situation. Now, in a normal circumstance, I would not use anything more than an ND8 or an ND16, depending on the amount of light there is outside, a cloud cover and have you not. So in simple terms, the more light in your surroundings, the higher you need the ND filter to be. So if you're filming like over water or in the snow where it's highly reflective, you might need to consider going to an ND32 in extreme circumstances. As I said, that's extreme. But generally, ND8, ND16 should have you covered for the most part. Now, I will have these linked below so you can check them out and see if it's something you want to invest in. If you are a beginner, I suggest just learn how to film first and how to take pictures. And then if you're still enjoying it at this point, maybe consider investing in the gear that you're using, because it is always a good feeling. Feel like you're advancing somewhat in your hobby. That's a top tip from me. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and give this video a little like, as it does help me out, and I will see you as always in the next one. Stay safe. Ciao.